Now, this story is as tragic as it is funny, really. But I don't know, really, make of it what you will. Let me just have a sip of water here first. And by the way, I'm talking with a somewhat reduced voice capacity today because I'm coming down with some bug of some sort. I don't really know what it is, but my throat is not operating at 100%. I'm not firing on all cylinders, so to speak. But whatever. I I remember way back in 2005. I think it was 2005, might have been 2004, 2006, somewhere around that time, 20 plus years ago. I was reading, let me see, what's the name of that cartoon? Bailey the Beetle? Is that it? Bailey the Beetle. I think that's what it. Beetle Bailey. Beetle Bailey. They're calling it something different in my country, by the way, but Beetle Bailey. The cartoon about the American cartoon about that soldier who's inherently lazy. So in this strip, Bailey and his platoon are headed to the shooting range and they're supposed to practice their marksmanship. However, because of budget restraints and because of a lack of funding, there's no ammunition. So the soldiers have to lay down and practice their marksmanship and shout bang, 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 instead of actually discharging their firearm, which is hilarious in and of itself. For some reason, I found that story very, very funny. I don't know why. However, but that was way back then. Fast forward to 2026, where this has become reality, actually. Because I read an article about some companies or some what's the term I'm looking for? I don't actually know the term that's being used, but whatever. Some soldiers from a part of the military reserves who were out exercising in the woods, they had to shout bang, bang, bang because they didn't have any ammunition. I mean, has the world gone bonkers? And this comes at a time, ironically, this comes at a time where the government has issued a bill to fund the military across many years with lots and lots of money. I think it was somewhere around, it was money in the billions of dollars. It was like a huge bill that was supposed to be introduced over years, or was supposed to be executed rather over years. You know, we're talking about the purchase of new tanks, probably new anti-missile defense systems, well, whatever the military needs. Probably new submarines, new frigates, new destroyers, well, whatever. But no, and you know, these large vehicles and weapons, of course, cost money. But nobody thought about, hey, maybe we should spend that money on ammunition for the soldiers. Because I don't know about you, but I don't think the enemy is getting quite frightened by a group of soldiers, by a platoon out in the woods who can't even afford to discharge their guns because they don't have enough ammunition. Now, I'm saying this somewhat facetiously, obviously, because this is an exercise and because if it were real, I'm sure they would be armed. However, the fact of the matter that when these guys and girls are in, or, you know, they're in the military, they're being asked to potentially sacrifice their lives for their nation. And so when they have the opportunity, the military is telling them that, look, no, we can't afford to give you guys blanks. You can't even have blanks. No live ammunition, that's fine, but you can't even have blanks. So you need to run around and shout bang, bang, bang. It's just so dumb. And it doesn't exactly strengthen the soldiers' beliefs in the system. Trust me when I say that. And so this could go on forever and ever. But let me just finish off on a rather positive note. in that if you're supposed to build a proper military up from the ground up, you need to start with a bare minimum, as in equipping the soldiers properly. This is like if you have millions of dollars and you're 19. You shouldn't waste them on an expensive watch, a fancy sports car, nice clothes. No, you should instead buy appreciating assets and work a job and learn a little bit about how life works. I might do a video about that later. But for now, invest money properly from the ground up as the core message. If you want to learn more, then get subscribed to my email list. The link to do so is in the episode description wherever you're watching or listening to this, and I'll see you there.